How's it going, everybody? Thank you for checking out my channel and welcome to today's video. This is an exciting build guide because this is something that I have been planning out for a very long time, and I was missing one particular piece to be able to make it complete, and I finally got that, which was the Eth Berserker Axe to be able to roll the runeword death in, to be able to complete the idea for a 100% crushing blow, 100% deadly strike, and just an overall different type of build that I am used to playing, and to be able to finally give my Frenzy Bar back the grief that he has been begging for so long, because I was using it on my Paladin and I'm certain that he would really rather use it. And now my Paladin can finally just use something else to be able to just zeal his way to getting to level 99 someday. I want to be able to go over my build guide for what my take on a really good Zealer build is. Granted, this is all endgame stuff, so for anybody that is wondering if it's going to be something possibly on a hybrid type of good versus cheap type of build, because I just did a build guide for a very cheap Frenzy Bar build to be able to crush Ubers. Unfortunately, it's going to be nothing like that. This is simply just end game type of gear. Before we get into the video, let's go do a comment shout out, and this is going to be to Sweet Phil, who commented on my video about just going through and identifying tons of jewelry where it took him so many runs just to be able to find one SOJ, and somehow I was able to get more than one. So also wanted to add on to that, congratulations on hitting 5,000 subs. It is very well earned and deserved because of the fact that you are definitely growing not only just as a channel, but as far as your content and the way that you are presenting your content and just the overall fun that you are showing to have for this game. Again, very well earned and deserved, and I hope you continue with your success and grow even larger. With that said, let's get right into the build guide.
Not even death can save you from me.
Greetings, mortals. I knew you would find your way back here.
Before we start going through all of the attributes, skill tree, and gear, just know that there are going to be timestamps in the video description, so if you want to skip to a particular part that interests you most, please use them at your discretion. But we're going to start with the attributes. So the one thing that you're going to see here is there's not a ton of strength to be able to, for example, hold a Monarch shield. I am actually using Paladin specific shields, and I'm not strength bugging my character because he is using a G-Face, for example, which does add to strength, but I'm not strength bugging him because I do predict the idea that he is going to die sometime down the line, and I don't want to have him strength bug to where when he dies, I'm not able to re-equip his gear. And I'm going to be putting in just enough strength to be able to hold the G-Face, and then whatever the G-Face is able to put on top of the strength, which is 15, then it's going to make it to where he's still able to grab it if he ends up dying. For dexterity, I went with using Holy Shield, and from there being able to adjust it so that way I get the max block, which is at 75%, because that's part of the setup for this particular build. Is not only am I going to be having quite the damage output with the weapon that I'm choosing to use, along with all the gear kind of centered around that, but I wanted to be able to have his defense be pretty viable as well. So again, I went and just used Holy Shield and then adjusted my dexterity points accordingly, and then completely just dumped the rest of my points into vitality with nothing into energy. So for the skill tree, I'm going to work my way up from the skill trees. So starting with combat skills, my focus is not only to be able to have this whole build centered around using Zeal. So I went and maxed it out and maxed out Sacrifice because it is a synergy for Zeal to get 12% extra damage per point into, or hard point into Zeal. But I also wanted to go for not only high damage output, but high defense. So I put 1 point into Smite, 1 point into Charge, 1 point into Holy Bolt, and 1 point into Blessed Hammer to be able to max out Holy Shield. And that way I am going to be able to survive a lot easier in the long run. So that way I can tackle any area of the game with very little to no problems. Working the way up, I wanted to max out Fanaticism because of the fact that it gives such a huge boost to my IAS. Because of the weapon that I'm using, it really lacks, comparatively speaking, to something like Grief in a phase blade. So I wanted to be able to max Fanaticism so that way I can get the good boost to IAS to damage and to the attack rating, so that way I can hit a lot more often to be able to deal a lot more damage. And with that, you have to put 1 point into Might, to Blessed Aim, and then into Concentration. Concentration, if you're doing something like, for example, Blessed Hammer, would be something that you would want to max out, but again, I'm not using Blessed Hammer, it is simply Zeal, so that's why I chose Fanaticism over Concentration. Now for defensive auras, I went and put my remaining points into Defiance because it is a synergy for Holy Shield. So that way I can get an extra boost to my defense for Holy Shield. Now as far as the gear, I'm going to go over just the parts that are going to be more pertinent to the build. If you want to know the ins and outs of all the stats, please feel free to pause at any moment. But for the helmet, I'm using a G-Face with a 15 IAS jewel to be able to help with my IAS breakpoint for my weapon. And to go along with that, also using Hyla's Wrath for the boost to IAS, the 1 to all skills, the 33% chance of Deadly Strike because of my character's level, and the Lightning Res. I am using an Eth Berserker Axe with runeword Death in it because of the fact that the Berserker Axe is the one-handed weapon with the most damage to it. However, it does lack in IAS, which is again where you're going to see the boost from here, and the amulet. So this is 1 off of perfect for enhanced damage, the boost to attack rating, 44% chance of Deadly Strike, and a lot of other amazing stats to go along with that. I am using Fortitude for the body armor because of the fact that it has such a huge boost to enhanced damage, the extra help with life, resistances, and I mean it's just an overall amazing body armor to be able to use on melee characters. And for the shield, I'm using Phoenix because this is one of my favorite shields to use for so many of my characters, and I was able to luckily roll this in a paladin specific shield, so he is the only person that's going to be able to use this. Now granted, there's going to be a lot of people that might see this and think, well, Zeal, it's going to get interrupted by Firestorm. The thing is, I'm not concerned about that because when it comes to Zeal, you got to think about it. You're going to be swinging constantly, which means that you're going to be clicking constantly. So if your character is going to need to have their primary attack need to be clicked constantly, I'm certain that the idea of the Firestorm possibly going off for the first or second, I think it's just the first hit, and just interrupting only that one with the rest of them being untouched is perfectly fine because it's just going to be constant left mouse clicking. It's not going to be a detriment to your build. Granted, it is a little bit annoying if you are trying to get the first hit off and you don't have really good attack rating, but it is going to be that much better when you really take into consideration all the benefits that you get from the runeword. For example, the Redemption Aura, so that way you can get a lot of your life and mana back. The extra boost to enhanced damage, which this, again, for talking about this one being 1 off of perfect, this one also rolled 1 off of perfect for the enhanced damage. And the boost to life, the fact that this was rolled in a 40 all-res shield, the really good boost to resistances because this character otherwise would be really lacking in resistances. So I mean, such a great runeword, and despite it has a very high cost, the benefit you get from it would outweigh the runes that you would need to put into it. So again, my favorite shield to use for so many characters, and I want to be able to keep that rolling so that way I can use not only Fanaticism to be able to get really good damage, attack rating, and to be able to get IAS, but this is going to be able to help to supplement for any type of life, not leech, but to be able to get life and mana back after you've killed whomever it is that you are either farming, boss, minions, champions, boss packs, whatever. So going with the gloves, lay of hands, because I'm going to be using him more for, I'd say, chaos and for Baal at the moment, but I'm not going to be showing the examples at either of them. I'm going to actually go somewhere else and switch out one of the pieces of gear, but I'll talk about that in a second. So rings, Raven Frost, because we don't want to be frozen. Arachnid's Mesh, because of the fact that it has a little bit of boost of mana to be able to have also 1 to all skills, And slowing targets, not going to be anything other than positive for the character, because of the fact that it is melee, you're going to be swarmed, and to be able to slow them down even by a little bit is going to be really helpful for the build. And then just an all-res ring, because of the fact that, again, my resistances were quite low, but because of the fact that I was able to get 40 all-res in this and the extra boost to resistances, if I was to take these off, I would be unfortunately SOL. So as far as the boots, we have Gore Riders, which is going to be good for the Crushing Blow, Deadly Strike, and a little bit of extra open wounds is going to be really helpful depending on who you're fighting. As far as the inventory, we have a couple of just plain Pecom Skillers. I have not been able to find any of them that have anything else to them, as far as even just barely any life, faster hit recovery, or anything. Just simply found nothing but plain ones. And then I have 2 extra attack rating Grand Charms, and then supplementing the rest with 20 to life Small Charms, and then my Perfect Annie that I was able to find after hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of runs for Declone, and then my Hellfire Torch, which is close to perfect with the Firestorm, which, kind of going back to the shield, if you are running a Zealot Paladin that has a torch on it, I don't know why it would be such a big deal for the Firestorm to proc off of Phoenix, because of the fact that it procs at a higher level than your torch. It shouldn't really be an issue, but the fact that you are running already with a torch and you have it being casted at a higher level off of your shield shouldn't hopefully be too much of an issue for you. For the Mercenary, we have an E-Bugged Fortitude for all the same benefits that are going to be helping my character. It's going to be helping them for extra enhanced damage, defense, life, resistances, all that good stuff. Then he is using Infinity for the Conviction Aura, for the extra boost to life, for the faster run walk, so he can finally keep up with me if he decides to actually stay with me. And I don't have an Andaro's Visage or Vamp Gaze, so I'm using Tal's Mask for the life leech, so that way he can stay alive a lot longer. And with the extra boost to life and resistances, really does help him out to be able to hit the maxes, especially when it comes to lightning for all the gear combined. Now, as far as alternatives, these are not all the different things that you could swap out. I just found some of the pieces that I had readily available without having to go into my mule. And this is actually one of the pieces I'm going to be swapping out when it comes to where I'm going to be demonstrating how effective this build is. So for this particular one, I'm going to be switching it to the blood gloves that I rolled specifically for this character, which is the gloves that have 20 IAS, 10 Crushing Blow, dual leech, and a little bit of extra boost to life. But you could, for example, for a character like this, use Grief, like I have here with 4400. You could use Hawes, which is great because it has not only 2 to combat, but 2 just to overall paladin skills, and so many of the extra added things for blocking. So that way, if you're trying to do a max block setup as well, it's going to be a lot easier for you to be able to do that. And just a huge boost to strength, vitality, and resistances. You also could run, if you are lacking in resistances like I showed you earlier, you could do something like a Chains of Honor. Granted, it is quite expensive, but it's going to be really beneficial. It's not like, for example, Fortitude that just has 300 enhanced damage clear across the board. This has specific for demons, undead, but the extra boost to both of those is going to be very beneficial in the long run. Plus 2 to skills with a huge boost to resistances at 65, with a lot of other great things that are going to be beneficial for your build. Or, like how I showed, I have Arachnus Mesh. You could run Enigma for the teleport. Now, granted, I am, again, specifically going to be going for something like Chaos and the Whirlstone Keep up to Baal, and I'm going to be killing everything in sight because I'm just trying to level. So simply focusing on the Champions of Box Pass alone is not going to be, at least in my opinion, as beneficial to just go around and to find them, because it's not like you're in using a Pit Berserker that is able to howl away and you can specifically find all the things that you're looking for. I'm just going to be running to everything, killing it, and going from there. That's just my personal strategy. But the main thing with this is there's a couple of different things that you could choose to do differently and make it that much more fun and more of a hybrid build. So here's just, again, the different ideas that you could choose to swap out in case you wanted to be able to do that. You could also use, if you're lacking in IAS and you don't have anything that is shown here to help with boosting that, or you want to just boost even more, you can use, for example, a Nosferatu's Coil for the extra boost to IAS, and it really does help with the build setup, especially if you are going to be doing Baal runs, because this Decrepify is very, very, very detrimental to the build. If you do not have, for example, you want to use Grief, and you can put on Nosferatu's Coil to be able to kind of counteract his Decrepify proc. So there's different options for the different types of builds that you want to be able to use. So as you guys probably saw from going over the additional items that we could use for the Zealer, you saw those was coming. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling like it's time to do a barbecue. Let's go get us some steaks. I'm hungry. Here we go. So again, I really just wanted to go to the cow level to just show how effective it could be against other actual melee characters or anybody that he's trying to fight, because that's simply what it is in cows. You're not going to be looking at any kind of casters in cows whatsoever. It's all simply just melee. But holding his own pretty well, even in the idea of possibly getting swarmed, he does very, very well. And the nice thing is, again, with the proc of both the Firestorm from the Torch and from Phoenix, you're going to be getting a lot of additional damage to not just the particular Hell Bovine that you're fighting, but to all the ones that are surrounding them, behind them, whatever the case is. So you're going to be doing a lot of additional damage. I'm not going to do a full cow run right here, just that way you guys know it's player 8. I'm not going to be doing a full cow run. I'm going to be just doing a little bit of it. Pretty much I'm going to be going and killing the Cow King, maybe another group after the Cow King, but that's as far as it's going to go. So I'm not trying to do the entire map on this one, just a little bit of an example of how he would be against other melee types of characters, or minions, demons, whatever the hell, they're cows. I didn't rehearse this at all, just by the way. I'm going on top of my head. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm ready for bed. Again, holding his own really, really well. Firestorm doing a lot of additional help. Yeah. Firestorm is going to have to really help with doing this, because this is what sucks. Even though he has really high damage for, you know, how death rolled and all of the additional items that are added on to make that rune word just super OP, you could have 1 to 6 or 1 to 6 million. If he's immune to physical, it doesn't matter how much damage it does. So everything else has to be able to come into play, and that's what sucks. So, but I'm just going to go ahead and skip the whole fight. I'm going to go right to the end of where he actually dies.
2 very boring minutes later.
Okay, finally he's done. Now, where in the hell is the Cow King at? There you are. You're somewhere in there. Perfect. Right now, the only person that really is having any trouble is the Merc. And that's it. Other than that, the build is holding itself really, really well. So yeah, again, even just being surrounded, he's able to have the Firestorm kind of not be crowd control, but just to be able to start doing a lot of the damage aside from who he is initially attacking. So that way, as soon as you are able to move on to the next one, or move onto the next one, then you are able to just deal with them so much easier. I think this is going to be it. And after this, that should hopefully be good enough to be able to show from cows how effective this particular build is. How did they come up with the names for the Snot Wing the Witch or Snot Witch? I wasn't even focusing on that until the last second, but these names are crazy. Yep, so hopefully that's good to show you how well this build really can handle itself.
But I'm not done yet.
So as you can see, I decided to do some Baal waves as well because I feel that people are going to be running Baal and Diablo a lot more often than they would be doing something like cows. And I just want to do a little bit of cows just to be able to demonstrate against melee characters as well. This is all in Players 8, and I'm certain in the latter half of the waves you'll be able to tell that this is Players 8. And I'm not going to be skipping any of the waves. If you would like to learn how to be able to skip Baal waves, I have a video for that you're welcome to check out. It's going to be in the card up in the top corner, and it is very effective with being able to learn timing and all of the ins and outs that are important for skipping Baal waves. But as you can see, wave 1 done, pretty easy. And the second one, and I just went and switched to my laying of hands as well, so that way it can help with, for example, this particular wave. And yeah, the poison, my poison res is not maxed out, so it's not going to be quite effective, even though I'm being hit literally left and right with poison. So unfortunately my health is going to start to go down just a little bit, and I don't have the right gloves to be able to get dual leech, especially with getting the really nice life stolen per hit. But it does help with being able to add a lot of damage though. So wave 2 done, pretty easy. And again, Phoenix is paying for itself greatly right now. Not too bad, just kind of staying in the middle for health. And the mercenary is also doing very, very well. This is right here hopefully going to be good testament to why I chose the mercenary I did, because I didn't say it earlier, but he is the Holy Freeze mercenary from Nightmare, Prac 2. So this is why it is really nice to have him, because he slows people down to pretty much a crawl. So that way, even though you are melee and you have to be right up close with everybody, it's going to make it to where you are going to be so much safer instead of just going with the Might Aura to be able to have a lot higher damage. You're going to be putting people to pretty much a crawl so you can make easy work of everyone. So, and just like that, we have wave 4 done very easy. And last but not least is the wave that I am not looking forward to, so wave 5. Still doing very, very well. And again, all on Players 8. This is the wave where, unfortunately, the Firestorm procs are going to be doing absolutely nothing for me. But thankfully for the high damage that I have on death, with all of the gear kind of centering towards that, it's going to make for easy work of everybody but Lister, because he is immune to both the Firestorm procs and to the damage from my weapon, with the only thing from my weapon that could actually be of any kind of damage to him would be the Glacial Spike procs. Yeah, this is going to take forever.
2 very boring minutes later.
Okay, finally. God. That took so long that my battle orders wore off, just to be able to get him down to where he's finally killed. But let me go ahead and pick these up real quick. And again, I'm going to be doing Players 8, just so that way you guys can see that it really is on Players 8. Only thing that really sucks about not having Enigma on is you can't just move everywhere very quickly or just teleport around. But still, Baal should be really easy. And I'm not going to be using any, no juice, no potions, no anything. I'm only doing this so you guys know I'm not actually using potions at all. So who's going to die first, me or Baal? Write in the comments down below. And just like that, players 8, Baal, no problem. And as we can see here, we are going to be looking at the Crushing Blow and Deadly Strike. So 100% chance of Crushing Blow, 107% chance of Deadly Strike. And very viable build, very effective, and with the high block chance, and especially you can see up on top the Zeal damage, it just makes for such an amazingly effective build. And something really fun to throw into the mix between all the caster characters that are super OP. Now you have an incredibly OP melee one as well. And that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to be able to finally just have this build come to life with getting the Eth Berserker Axe, so that way I can roll death in it. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know a lot of people are going to be feeling certain ways about some of the pieces in the build. If there's anything that you would change up, please let me know in the comment section down below. And if you like this content, want to see more, please hit the subscribe button. Dude, this bug is just annoying me. Please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification to be notified whenever a new video comes out. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys.